The royal family is subject to rules we commoners are oblivious to. Some of these surprising rules control how royal couples conduct themselves in public and in the presence of the Queen. But sometimes, royals break their own rules and protocols, especially when love is involved.
So it wasn't a massively big surprise, but I took her up somewhere nice in Kenya and proposed.
Number 1. Dating under the radar. Most royals don't hold talk show interviews about their dating lives, or even their lives in general. In fact, the first time a royal even spoke directly to the media was when Prince Philip spoke to BBC in 1961. That's because almost all press communication runs through the palace, just to keep things, let's say, regular. But sometimes things get personal, like when Prince Harry surprised everyone when he spoke out in defense of his then-girlfriend, Meghan Markle. It was unprecedented to see a royal speak up about a relationship like that. Number 2. No PDA. You can imagine what a frenzy the world would be in if they caught the Queen kissing. So it's not hard to imagine royal couples are trained to not show PDA, especially during official royal business. Mostly out of respect for other cultures or world leaders, but also as a way to hold up the royal image of class. Most folks find PDA to be a little too common to witness royals doing. But of course, they are humans. And there are a few royals caught being a little overly affectionate in the past. Number 3. Dress code. You're not going to see any high-ranking royals in jeans and a crop top having a dinner date, or even showing their stocking-free legs. Though times have changed, the royals still adhere to some pretty strict dress codes. And when someone decides to go against that, it doesn't go unnoticed. Like when Meghan wore dark nail polish at the 2018 Fashion Awards, as opposed to a nude shade the Queen approves of. Or when Princess Diana wore her black revenge dress to the Vanity Fair party, when black is reserved for funerals, and when she was showing more skin than royally allowed. We're a little glad she broke that rule, or we wouldn't have seen that iconic dress. Number 4. Rules of engagement. There's no ring without the written approval of the Queen for the higher-ups of the royal family. According to the Royal Marriages Act of 1772, the reigning monarch can veto royal engagements. This rule came about because King George III didn't want his brother's bride-to-be, who was a commoner, to diminish the status of the royal house. The rule was amended in 2013 to only apply to the first 6 people in line to the throne. Both Prince Harry and Prince William required Her Majesty's approval before proposing. Number 5. Myrtle and the Bouquet. It has become a royal tradition since Queen Victoria's grandmother-in-law gifted her Myrtle during one of their first visits together. Now, every royal bride, including the Queen herself, Princess Diana, Kate, and Meghan, had sprigs of myrtle in their bouquets. Myrtle is considered the flower of love, so it makes sense why this tradition has been kept up for royal brides, as a sprinkle or sprig of extra love on their wedding day. Number 6. Religious beliefs. From 1701 to 2015, it was against the rules for a British royal to marry a Roman Catholic, or they risked losing the line to the throne. The monarchy is technically the head of the Church of England, which is Protestant, so it was considered a conflict of beliefs. In 2013, the rule changed and came into effect in 2015 that any royal that marries a Roman Catholic will still become the reigning monarch. But a Roman Catholic cannot rule the throne. This rule is possibly why Meghan was baptized before marrying Prince Harry. Number 7. Always behind the Queen. The Queen's husband, Prince Philip, always walked a few steps behind her, and it all comes down to the royal pecking order. Because the Queen is the head, she always comes first. First to sit, first to stand, first to enter, and the first to leave. But there's also another layer to this rule. It's considered rude to turn your back on the Queen, which you technically do when you walk in front of someone. Number 8. Saying yes to the dress. Before walking down the aisle, royal brides have traditionally shown their wedding dress to the Queen to get her approval. In some instances, she's even gotten looks at the design before the dress is made, mostly just to keep in accordance with the modest royal dress code, like no short hemlines, no low necklines, and no exposed shoulders. But now it's probably more out of respect and tradition because Meghan's reception dress had her shoulders on full display. Number 9. No adult bridal party. Normally, your closest friends would be in your bridal party, but for most royal couples, it was the closest kids in the family accompanying them down the aisle and handling the train and flower duties. This one comes down to British tradition of having younger girls as bridesmaids and page boys, and the royal family has kept up with that tradition. Except when Prince William and Kate were getting married, and Kate's sister, Pippa Middleton, and Harry accompanied them down the aisle, breaking tradition. Number 10. Tiaras after marriage. It's a time-old tradition and rule that British royal women do not wear tiaras until they're married. Though, the first time you'll generally see a woman in the royal family wearing a tiara is on her wedding day. At least, that was the case for Princess Diana, Kate, and Meghan, who all borrowed tiaras from the Queen's jewelry collection. The Queen picks the options herself. The brides-to-be don't get free reign on the entire collection. Number 11. No nicknames. Even though the royals have their own nicknames amongst themselves, and even given to them by the public, shout out Queen Lizzie or Lilibet, they won't actually refer to each other with these nicknames publicly, unless, of course, it comes up in conversation. For example, Prince William generally refers to Kate as Catherine, which Catherine prefers. You won't catch him calling her a cute pet name in public though, because after all, they're royals and they still have to remain professional even with the public. Number 12. Long separation before divorce. There was a time when divorce was highly frowned upon and could cost a royal their spot to the line in the throne. But since the 1700s, there have been a few high-profile divorces in the royal family. King Henry VIII changed things. Even with that, the royals prefer a long separation instead of a quick divorce to keep up with public appearances. Princess Diana talked about how hard it was for her. She told BBC, "My husband and I had to keep everything together because we didn't want to disappoint the public. And yet, obviously, there was a lot of anxiety going on within our four walls." Number 13. Post-divorce weddings. Just like everyone, royals find love after divorce and can technically get married after a divorce, but it's still considered taboo to marry a divorcee. So much so that Princess Margaret reportedly broke off her relationship with a divorced war hero, Peter Townsend, because she didn't want to lose her ability to succeed to the throne. Though that's not a real issue nowadays. Prince Charles married Camilla and is still in line to be king. It used to be when Edward VIII married twice divorced Wallis Simpson, which caused quite a stir, and he ended up abdicating the throne. Number 14. No selfies. Now, this isn't so much of a rule or concern for safety, but because the Queen is not a fan of selfies. So you won't catch the royal family posting a selfie portrait on their social media. But the Queen isn't so strict with this rule, compared to the no autograph rule, so they can't be auctioned. There are quite a few royals who have posed for selfies with fans, but usually during their times interacting with the public and never during an official meeting with other world leaders. Number 15. Public birth announcement. During the pregnancy and birth of a royal, the family has traditionally shared the plans with the public, and on the day of the birth, the palace releases a statement. And Princess Diana set the trend of holding her newborn for a photo op outside the hospital. Meghan and Harry chose to do things a little bit differently, and it somehow caused a stir. Meghan kept her birth plans private, even leaving her doctor's signature off the palace statement, which isn't usually done. Archie's first photo op wasn't outside the hospital, but on a red carpet outside Windsor Castle. Meghan also broke the rules by having a big baby shower in New York with her closest friends, which the palace advised against. Which rules were the most surprising to you? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe to The Things Celebrity for more of your favorite celebs.